What's going on, everybody? My name is Joe Bentley. I'm the artist and teacher in classical double bass at the University of Rhode Island, and I'm a professional freelance double bass player. And today, I wanted to answer the #1 question that I get as a professional bassist, and that is, how do you play that thing? Well, I actually have no clue. There are a lot of ways to play the double bass. The first way that I like to play is I like to use the bow. Now, use the bow most often when you're playing in classical music. So, being able to use the bow gives you the ability to sustain a note. Whereas when you just pluck it, you have the beginning of the note and then nothing after it. So, the great thing that you have with the bow is that you have the ability to change articulation and dynamics and phrasing. You can play finger style like you're playing in a jazz band. You can play slap bass style like you're playing rockabilly. And if you practice enough, you can even play behind your back. Okay, so the first thing to know about how to play the double bass is it has the exact same open string tuning as a bass guitar. And for this video, I have my bass guitar right over here on my right. Now, if I play my double bass's open strings from the lowest to the highest, I have a low E string, an A string, a D string, and a G string. Now, if I put my double bass down and pick up my bass guitar, you'll hear that the bass guitar strings are tuned the exact same way and even in the exact same octave as the double bass. From lowest to highest, we have a low E, a low A, a D, and a G string. So we know that the tuning is the same. Now, the other thing to point out about this is the biggest difference, and this is the thing that I get asked the most often on the topic of how do you play that thing in particular, is that most people say, how do you find the notes? There are no frets on the instrument, on the fingerboard. So these things right here, if you play guitar, you already know what these are. These are called frets. But what they allow you to do is they allow you to play in tune. They allow you to play the instrument in tune. And if you guys see on the headstock of this bass, this is called the Fender Precision Bass. The reason why this is called the Fender Precision Bass is because the Fender P bass, or Precision Bass, is one of the earliest models of electric basses that was invented in the late 1950s and was kind of implemented in the 1960s. The reason why it's called the Precision Bass is because these frets allow you to play in tune, whereas the lack of frets on a double bass makes it a little bit harder to play in tune. But the thing that most people want to know is, how do you find the notes on this bass? Well, the thing to know is it doesn't actually start with your fingers. It starts with your ear and being able to hear what certain pitches sound like and whether or not something is in tune or out of tune. The best way to do this is to put your thumb, see this little corner right here on the neck? If you put your thumb here, on most basses, if you put your first finger down, that'll give you something close to a D. Now you have an open D string on your bass. You put your thumb in the crook of the neck, you put your first finger down, and you pluck. Or if you have a bow, you can use your bow. And you're going to test that against your open string. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things, and I want to see if you can understand the difference. Now, this is going to sound not right. Take a listen to it. I played my open D string. Now here is a note above it. Now that's out of tune. Pause the video. Is that sharp or is that flat? The correct answer is that was sharp. So what I need to do is I need to bring my first finger back to the point where it's in tune, right? So we have that doesn't sound very good. You back the finger off. There we go. That's in tune. Now, I'm going to go in the other direction. The first one was flat, so you're going to know that this one is sharp. Or rather, the first one was sharp, so you're going to know that this one was flat, right? So let's take a listen to what flat sounds like. There's our note that's in tune. There's our open string. Now, we can already tell that that doesn't sound right. Ugh, that doesn't sound good. Now, we play them together. We get it in tune. Now, if you can tell what's in tune and what's out of tune, then you're already doing pretty good. The next step is we've established that we know what sounds good and what doesn't. The great thing about music is that I think everybody already knows what sounds good and what doesn't. My job as an educator is to get you guys to connect the dots. So the next step after that is how do we actually figure out where the notes are on this instrument? Now, what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to figure out not just what's in tune and what's out of tune, but we need to figure out what note we're even trying to play. So let's take an open G for an example. Da, do, right? That'll be our do. If anybody's ever seen The Sound of Music, do, a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun, right? So if you have do, and then re, and then mi, all we're going to try and do is we're going to find do, re, and mi on the G string. So here's do, here's re, and here's mi. Now if we play with the fingers, I'm going to put the bow down. It sounds like this: do, re, and mi. Now you'll see what I'm doing with my left hand. I'm actually only using the first finger and the fourth finger. There's a pretty big space between these notes here. So we have our open string. We put our first finger down on that A, and then our fourth finger down on the B. Now, if you play bass guitar and you're coming to upright bass from bass guitar, that's going to be the open string, and then the second fret, and then the fourth fret. Now, there's one big key difference between electric bass and upright bass that we're going to talk about. The biggest difference between electric bass and upright bass is that in the lower positions, each finger, each one of your four fingers, gets one note per fret. So we have G, we have A flat, we have A, we have B flat, and then we have B. So we actually have four notes in the first position of the bass. G, A flat, A, B flat, B. On the double bass, we're only using three fingers in the lower position. That's going to be your first finger, your second finger, and your fourth finger. Now, the ring finger or the third finger is on the neck as well. You're just not using it. And the first question that I get is, well, why not? I mean, you see how big the instrument is. Wouldn't it be a lot more efficient to use all four fingers in the lower position? Well, let's see what happens when I do that. Now I have my G, A, right? So now I have an A flat here, G, A flat, A. Now I have a B flat, but look what happens to my fourth finger in order to hit that B flat. Even if I were to somehow do this, that fourth finger is just not big enough for me to be able to stretch all my four fingers back. That's how far apart the notes are on the double bass. So if you're switching from electric bass to double bass, this is going to be your primary hand structure, right? So remember, we're kind of ignoring that third finger and we're keeping the first and second finger broken apart a little bit like that. That's going to be kind of our bass hand shape. So now that we've established that the tuning of the double bass is actually the same as the electric bass, we have a low E, we have an A, we have a D, we have a G. We've established that the hand structure on double bass is slightly different than it is on electric bass, and we've figured out exactly where these frets are on the double bass. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out an exercise to get us across all four strings. Now, that do, re, mi exercise that I taught you, that exercise can be applied to all four strings. Now, the simple way to think about this is open, second fret, fourth fret, second fret, open. But when you're reading sheet music for double bass, fret markers don't really help you because the frets are not included in that. So you need to be thinking exactly what note it is that you're playing. This is the connection that I'm talking about, figuring out what note it is that you're trying to play anyway. So we have G, A, B, A. Now we can go down to the second string, or the D string. We have D, E, F sharp, E, and then D. And then we have on the A string, we have A, B, C sharp, B, and then A. And then on the E string, we have E, F sharp, G sharp, F sharp, and E. So now that we've found all the notes in first position on the double bass, at least between the first and the fourth fingers, we're going to turn this into an exercise. I'm going to give you a 4 count, and then you're going to listen and play along if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that we've had a beginner crash course on how to go from bass guitar to double bass, let me know in the comments if you have any more questions on exactly how to make the transition a little bit easier. Next up, we're going to be covering how to use the bow and how to make a good sound on the bass all the time. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon for All Things Bass.